From our perspective here now, the sun moved on, and the sun now gone into gateway or hexagram number 45. That is behind the sun from our perspective here on Earth. And we're in that portion of the sky around us now, or those hexagrams that would relate to that portion of the sky, where we're in the throat center in human design. And we're also in this quarter of civilization. And we're also in this group of 8 hexagrams where the bottom 3 chop marks in the hexagram are broken or receptive. So as we entered into this particular area, we started off with gateway number 2. Gateway number 2 is the most yin, most receptive of all the gateways, all the hexagrams in human design or in the I Ching. We then went into gateway number 23, which is this very individual expression of I know. That was the first voice. The second voice was gateway number 8, which was let's pull it together. Let's hold it together. Let's contribute or draw in all kinds of contributions here. The third gate was the 20th gateway, the gateway of now, the view, this sudden opening to now, this present moment. We then had the 2 collective gateways. First off, the number 16, which was selectivity, which is about recognizing, okay, what are we going to pick on to make sure a clear future outcome to what we do? What is going to be valuable, what not so much? And then we had gateway number 35, which was the collective abstract voice of progress, of are we experiencing any kind of new things in life? Are we being fulfilled through the experiences we have? And now we go into a very, very different gateway, the 45, which is the gateway of, it's the voice of the tribal circuitry. It's the voice of gathering together. And the tribe operates on a very, very different level than the collective. Collective and tribe, it's almost like oil and water. They have 2 very, very different ways of going about things. Collective has the rules and the beliefs, and the tribe is all based around we're in this together. We are pulling together. We are all communally interrelated here. And we come from the heart center, right? Very, very different. So the heart basically looking at what it is in life that really has value. And so this 45th gateway is the voice, the singular voice for the tribe. And the voice is I have or I don't have. It's very material in its expression of things. Or we could say we have or we don't have. We as a tribe have or we don't have. And so it's a very, very different thing. And it's a voice that comes directly from the heart center, from the willpower center. So it's always expressing the sense of particularly material value. So when we look at the wheel, we see the 45 right in the bottom here. That green stripe there represents the portion of the sky around us we associate with Gemini. And we go up to the left side there and we see the 21 gateway, which is the gateway in the willpower center, the gateway of control, the hunter-huntress, and making up this channel that we've called the money channel, the channel of materialism. And people that have this channel, they think, oh my goodness, I was on a spiritual path in this lifetime and now I got this material channel. Do not be concerned. It's about living in a material world and getting comfortable in a material world. Because you have that channel, does it mean you're going to be a multimillionaire? It's up to you. Go with your type and authority and all things are possible, right? That same applies to everybody of us. If you have nothing to do with this channel, it's the same thing. Go along with your type and authority and allow yourself to be guided in life to what it is that really gives you a great sense of satisfaction and fulfillment in life. So let's have a look. See, the gateway is called gathering together. And I say the bottom 3 chop marks there are very much about being receptive, broken, receptive. And on the top side, we have the symbol for fire. So fire on the earth. And so here we are gathering together, a bright light on the earth. So we're looking towards a place that we can all recognize. And we might say, since it's very much the voice of material, It's about being really comfortable in this material world and allowing ourselves to draw things together, to gather together resources. And it's a gateway of rulership. And I put in there the gateway of the king or the queen. And so you'll know if you've got this 45th gateway in your design, you're the king or the queen. And you may say, well, this King Charles of England thing now, is what's all that about? Well, actually it's baked into our reality here, that this is the high point of the tribe, if you will, the top end of the food chain. And you may think the whole thing's nonsense, but it actually has a place. And what we say about kings and queens, and you'll know this if you've got the 45th gateway, it really helps you to have ministers, the people that take care of all the whatever, basic stuff. And if you look at the old way the court systems were set up, there would be the king and the queen at the top, right? And then they'd have their court, and in the court there would be so many ministers organizing this, that, and the other, sorting out the rule systems. And particularly people with the 21 are all about bringing in the resources, bringing in the money, right? The one thing that really upsets any kind of king setup or king or queen setup is the coffers are empty. There's no money. Henry VIII of England was a classic example of this. Ran out of funds. What does he do? He goes and raids all the monasteries and stuff. Anyway, ancient history, but the finances is very much a part. What do we say about a successful tribe? Two very, very relevant things for a successful tribe. And when I say tribe, I'm talking about family, I'm talking about community, I'm talking about corporation, I'm talking about nationality. All of these things have various tribal setups within them. So, the most important things for a tribe is lots of new children, lots of new entries into the tribe, high birth rate, right? And the other thing is lots of money, so there's no shortages anywhere. And that's up to the king. That's the king's or the queen's job to make sure that everybody is looked after in this regard. So, a couple of things for the king or the queen. Everybody needs to hold the door open for you. Right? You get the best access to things and you get the best seat in the room. Very important. Right? You got the 45. Make sure that this is available for you. Right? So firm alignment with that which supports everyone best, brings together a strong community. And so you may think, oh, what a great thing being the king or the queen, but actually, there's a huge responsibility in that. And you'll know there's all kinds of stories about the good kings and the good queens and the gracious ones, and all about the rascals and the really deadbeat ones. So, there is a huge responsibility that goes with being the head of the tribe, being the elder of the tribe, being the matriarch or the patriarch of the family. It's a huge responsibility looking after all the rest of the family. What's their situations and being the wise one within it all. So it is really about firm alignment with that which supports everyone best. That's the greatest interest for the king or the queen. So I say there's the court, and the ministers are dealing with all the regular day-to-day stuff, but every now and again, something needs to come to the king or the queen's attention to get their input on it. So the subject approaches the king and the queen and they make their case, and the king and the queen said, this is what needs to happen here. They get the last word. And you might know that with the 45 in your chart. You generally need to get the last word on things. You have the final decision. And there's one other thing that goes with this. You don't like, it's part of your nature to appreciate 100% consensus. People don't like what you're up to. You need the whole tribe pulling together. That's the whole thing about it. You've got to have a happy kingdom or queendom. And if you don't, if people are, the peasants are revolting, right? Off with their heads. So, this 45 rule, it's got many different parts to it. And all of them, I'm saying some of these things in jest in a way, but you'll see, if you've got the 45, and the nature of the 45 is everybody's got to be on the same page together. How do we do that? How do we make for a happy kingdom or a happy queendom? Right? So it's the king or the queen's responsibility that everybody has a roof over their head. Everybody has money in the bank. Everybody has food in the fridge. And everyone has the space of possibility to have freedom in their life. I mean, that's a tall order sometimes for somebody to be able to arrange that. But that's what goes along with the 45, gathering together, pulling it all together, get it together. So let's have a look at the commentary for this. A stable and upright presence is required of all those who are in positions of rulership. Right? You may have watched the coronation of Charles III and just seen, there's a very stable and upright presence. That's the deal. It's serious business, if you will. And from that, and so you find consensus in life through exercising your own clarity, right? Once it's established that you are this stable and upright presence, right? The throne is not wobbly. At 45, right, you've got it together, you hold it together. And then from that base, you can exercise your clarity in the world around you, and you provide education for the well-being of your people, right? You get everybody up to speed, up to a high quality of material standards. And it says the voice of the community relates to material fulfillment. And that's basically when the king and the queen and everybody are fulfilling everybody's needs, everyone's getting the best attention out of their life, it's going to be a happy kingdom or queendom. So let's have a look at the lines. And we start off with the first line at the top, or at least it's at the bottom of the hexagram, but here we are reading them through in order. First line is called blending, finding common ground with others before moving forwards. Now, you may have heard times of leaders and kings and queens where the king will, want to know what's really going on in my populace here. And so they'll go into disguise and they'll go and mingle with the common folk and find out what's going on. And that's the nature of the 45 of the first line. They've got to be in touch with the common cause, with what's going on in their kingdom and queendom. So finding common ground with others before making decisions on things. And we all know this sense of how rulers or CEOs or whoever it is that's leading the tribe, they can be totally out of touch with whatever is going on in the company. And, there it is. The 45 in the end will lose the support that it needs. And here it says, your openness and firmness in any leadership role encourages the backing of those being led. Great thing when you got everybody's on board with you and you feel you have this big surge of energy behind you that you make for a really popular place in life, in that you are providing well for your people, for your kingdom, for your queendom. And here it says your clear inner intent expands your ability to receive material and spiritual assistance. Right? You all wonder, what's this crown thing on the head? It's a connection. It's an antenna of sorts. And, it's said in the olden times, the kings, literally did have a really spiritual connection. Who knows what goes on in these times? There was certainly a little bit of hocus pocus going on when Charles was given his crown. So material and spiritual assistance is received when you make that connection with the people that you're serving. The other side of it being naturally attractive to others, you can become overwhelmed by their problems. There it is. Everybody wants a piece of the action. Everybody wants to have access to the 45. You are, after all, the one that's going to have the last word on things. So if the last word is in your benefit, definitely you want to make that connection. So with the 45, you have to be really particular. Have your ministers, have your life set up in a way where not every little bit of nonsense is yours to deal with all the time. The second line, the line of contributing, trusting in the guidance and the company you attract. So you may not have a kingdom or a queendom, but it's about being really clear about who are the important people in your life. Who are the ones that give you that support? Because the key word in anything to do with the tribe is support. It's a quid pro quo in a way. I'll give you this, you give me that. And it works out beautifully. So second line, just very natural in their engagement with life. And it's just saying, trust in the people around you. Being open or closed in the company you attract measures the blessings that you receive. And blessings can be spiritual as well as material blessings as well. It's about being really clear who it is you're engaging with, who are the ones that naturally come to you. The other side of it, you tend to go it alone. Now, I don't really need anybody's input. I don't really want anyone's help, and I'm just going to do my own thing here. Tend to go it alone rather than appreciate the blessings that your company brings. And it's a sad thing in a way of kind of pushing people out of your life because you don't see they're contributing in some way or other, and you don't really trust what it is they're bringing with them. The third lines always have this commitment issue. Shall I, shan't I, will I, won't I, get involved or not. And we say, wherever there's a third line in your chart, leave that door open in that part of your life. The line is called separating, proceeding in life without obvious support or common accord. And there it is. It's like, I have my own way of doing stuff. That's what the third line does. In any hexagram, right, we've divided these into 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4, 5, 6. But I always remark about the bottom trigram. The bottom trigram is receptive. And what was discovered in the genetics is that within every DNA strand, there's a twist. There's a helix that twists. And the twist is between third and fourth lines. So first, second, third lines are all running a particular pattern, but the third line can very easily, because there's a twist, can very easily take off on a tangent. And it doesn't necessarily make a connection with 4, 5, 6. So here it's saying, there's a proceeding in life without obvious support or common accord. It's just the third line can take off in its own way. You either discover how to gather resources and support or find troubles that create hardship. It's just part of the deal with the third line. There's a lot of experimentation that takes place in third lines. And in the end, it's about recognizing, okay, there's a lot of different ways of doing the same thing, and I may try all the ones that don't work until I find the ones that do work. What I always say, where you've got third lines in your chart, maintain your sense of humor. Right? Recognize where things screw up. Recognize where things go absolutely haywire and how depressing that can feel. However, it's great material for later on in life saying, oh yeah, I tried that once, what a freak out disaster it was. But now I've got all this wisdom around things that don't work and all this wisdom around things that do work. So you either discover how to gather resources or, you don't find that way at first until you keep on experimenting and trying, and then finally you get it. Your deep attunement to the workings within a hierarchy intuits how to gain resources. Right? How does the hierarchy work? What is the pecking order within any court system, any family system, any corporation system, any government system? What's the hierarchy? How does it work? And the third line has so many different ways of accessing the resources. The other side of it, disappointed in not finding a chord. You might ask, do I really want to be involved? And there it is, done with this thing, I'm off going to do something else. So going back to the whole thing of the 45 is gathering together. What is your tribe? Who is your tribe? Who are the people that support you? You may not be the king or the queen or whatever, but who are the people around you in your life that are your tribe? Who are the people you like to have there? The ones that you support and they support you in return. We go on to the fourth line, and the fourth line is called being brave. You might say the king or the queen's throne is the loneliest place in the court. In a sense, everybody's looking at you. What are they going to do? What's the right thing to do? There's a catastrophe approaching us all. What's the king and the queen going to do? And the fourth line is always in this place of wanting to serve everybody on board. Hey, we're all on the same page here. And so how do you get people to join in with you? And that's the fourth line, is that you have to be brave. You have to put out things that are perhaps in the first place unpopular. You have to kind consult with all your resources to find out, what's really going on here, what's really wanted. And it says selflessly striving to accomplish benefits for one and all. In a sense, the king and the queen are absolutely driven to have a happy queendom or kingdom. I mean, it's a huge responsibility on some level. And I'm saying, okay, we're talking human design here. So type and authority, tells you what's really drawing you to put your energy, where you're going to place your energy, where you're going to place all your intention here. But the fourth line, if you've got this fourth line, you'll just see that there's a part of you that just wants to serve everybody. You attract others by proceeding towards a larger than personal goal. Right? It's about looking beyond yourself, beyond the things that satisfy you, and seeing, okay, how does everybody feel included here? Your inner alignment with a higher sense of purpose assists everyone on the material plane. There it is, that higher sense of purpose. You're kind of looking beyond the obvious. You're looking beyond everything that's always been tried and done before. And I'm saying this is not just limited to the court. This is already including families, communities, organizations, councils. There's always some kind of tribal thing within that. What do people derive the best benefit from? Your boldness to achieve individual material success can also benefit other people. That's the other side of it. It's just about being really clear. What is it that's really wanted? Right? How are people beginning to serve best? And I've already said, roof over their head, money in the bank, food in the fridge, gas in the car, whatever. Everyone feels materially replete. The fifth line, the line is called being virtuous. The virtues that attract the confidence of others. Now, fifth lines always have this potential of overseeing. They are, in a sense, the natural king or the queen, because they can look around the court and see what's going on. And they can also look into the distance and see where things might need to go. And the whole thing is, are you a virtuous king or a virtuous queen or not? And it's just, it attracts the confidence of others when you can somehow, by example, put forward what it is that's really worthwhile for everybody. Your attitude of independence or entitlement affect the way in which you are perceived, right? There is something of being that lonely seat in the house, or that, the one whom everyone looks to, where the buck stops. That is a very important feature with the 45, that it's about being present, connected, but not aloof. Independent, absolutely, because you're the one that's going to have the last word on things. The entitlement thing is like, having a little bit of an extra ego. It's all about me kind of thing. Yeah, well, you may be the king and the queen, but the real phase of the king and the queen is serving the people. Your innovative approach to leadership is naturally attractive to other people. And there it is, an innovative approach. It's like, look to see who needs to get what. And the other side of it, assuming a grandiose approach to leading others, you must be practical to be effective. And this is always the issue with the fifth line. Mary Antoinette, the famous phrase, nobody's got any bread to eat, so she says, let them eat cake. That is not practical, because there was no flour in the first place to make anything. So, there it is. That's the kind of potential of leadership in the fifth line is just seeing, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And it's got to be practical to be effective. And so there really is this thing of the 45 checking in the pulse of the tribe. Like with the first line, it says, go out and find out what people really want, what they really need. Go and work on the shop floor for a bit. The sixth line here, the line of being self-dependent, trusting that you receive what you need. So essentially, six lines always are in that place of potential wisdom. They are the expert. They have the overview of it all. They can see what a happy kingdom, queendom looks like. And I'm saying, the crux of the whole thing is resources and plenty of tribal members that are on the same page giving their support. And so the sixth line very often has this place in life where it's kind of overseeing it. It's naturally assumed the sixth line is going to take charge, going to make sure everybody gets an education, get a roof over their head, gets money and all that stuff. And so it says you remain unfazed by others' attitudes, right? You stay true to your own nature. You stay true to your own wisdom and recognizing what it is that's really needed to be provided for the tribe, for the community. Or you capitulate when challenged materially. And there it is. The plug goes out. There's no material resources. And all of a sudden the sixth line can, oh, I don't have what I need to be able to uplift everybody's life, to support everybody in a right way. So it says being self-dependent, it's the core inside that really counts here. Here it is, relying on your inner independence, you succeed despite employing unorthodox techniques. So there it is, the sixth line can see over everything, and the great thing is to remain unfazed by everybody's input and the chaos and the trouble. Let the ministers deal with the riffraff and the regular issues of life, the little nitpicking stuff. But the sixth line has to look over the top of it all and see, okay, in the broad scale of things, what's really needed here. And so unorthodox techniques can bring about, oh my goodness, look what they've done. They've brought in these resources. They've brought in these other possibilities for us. The other side of it, taking failure personally, you'll find regrets. You're often reminded to count your blessings. I've come across many people with the sixth line in their design, whether it's in their profile or in other parts of their line, that it can almost feel like a weight on their shoulders all the time. It's like, oh my goodness, do I have to take responsibility for all this? And of course, the 45 is a natural gateway that requires responsibility. It goes with the territory. And, you'll just see the royalty of the British is played out in a rather dramatic way. And there's all kinds of people poking fun at it all the time. But there's also, one must see, yes, there's a certain level of privilege, but there's also a certain level of weight on the shoulders. And so great thing is, if you've got the 45 in your design and you feel like, my goodness, constantly my resources are being drawn from me, I'm having to engage in so many different things, whatever line you've got, here's the thing, you're reminded to count your blessings, right? It's a great thing. It's a great privilege to be at that top end of the food chain one way or another. And it's all up to you, using your type on authority, to be really clear how you play out that particular role that you have, or that part of your life that you get to play out.